Okay, so I want to talk about something a little bit different from my usual videos, and it directly relates to what I'm using right now, the computer, YouTube, etc. Although other things as well. What I want to talk a little bit about is the benefits of technology versus the problems with technology. Now, I'm sure we've all had this situation where we've had a slow computer or some other piece of equipment that has let us down. It could be something freezing, or just a slow mechanism, or for example maybe a certain file being unable to open, and we've seen the messages, we've seen the how that feels. It's stressful, and it can take a lot of patience. Now, I've always tried to be open-minded on this, that technology obviously provides a lot of positive aspects. I mean, take YouTube for example. With this piece of technology, I can upload videos, share my thoughts, and people on the other side of the world can watch and reply. Now, that's an incredible thing. It would have been unthinkable maybe 20 years ago. Needless to say, technology can produce many marvels in terms of human development, in terms of medical breakthroughs when we think of medical equipment, in terms of scientific progress, in terms of day-to-day entertainment. Technology can be a wonderful thing. But there's something that I want to talk a little bit about, that whilst there's many reasons to be grateful for technology, and it is something that we take for granted every day, we use this stuff, and I would say the average YouTuber doesn't really spend a lot of time thinking about how great YouTube is. They just sort of, it's a routine thing they do. They use it, they upload videos and so on. But it is something we take for granted. Now, if I was to lose my connection tomorrow, I would know about it. And even though it's not a necessary part of my life, it would be stressful, and I would want it back because I'm so used to it. So it's a classic saying that we miss something when it's gone, and that definitely applies to technology, without question. However, there's another side to technology that is almost, I would describe it as almost forced conformity. And it's not forced in the sense that people aren't forced to use it, but it's sort of a social, not even a social stigma, but almost social alienation if you don't use it. We've got to a point where we rely on technology so much that if anybody doesn't rely on it, they are almost socially alienated. Maybe not deliberately, but just because that's the way things are, that people often rely so much on social media. I mean, even I do it. If I almost instinctively say to someone, "Oh, what's your Facebook?" if I'm getting to know them and I want them to be a friend, and I'm usually quite surprised if they don't have it. And likewise, I've got Chinese friends, and they all use an application called WeChat. Now, I'm finding I'm in a difficult position because WeChat is a more updated version of QQ. If you're Chinese, you know what I'm talking about. QQ is basically another social networking medium, so to speak. But WeChat is more up to date. Now, this is the problem. To download WeChat, you need a smartphone. Now, I've got a basic, old-fashioned phone. It makes phone calls, sends text messages. So I can't download WeChat on this. Some people have told me that you could do it online, but I've tried that and it simply doesn't work because you need a certain scam. So this then alienates me to some extent from my Chinese friends, because I can't keep in touch with them as often as I would like to, because they don't use QQ that much. And of course Facebook is banned or blocked in China, so that isn't so easy. So quite often this has led to a few arguments. I've been sort of like, "Oh, why were you ignoring me?" Because I got paranoid and I thought they were ignoring my messages. But that wasn't actually the reason. It was because they use WeChat much more. So until I get a smartphone, I can't use WeChat. So then it's sort of like the commercial side of things comes in, because then I have to get a smartphone in order to use this technology. And of course a smartphone is a lot more money than a regular phone. So in that sense, I think there is, and that's, this isn't just because of the censorship in China. It's to do with the sort of conformity of technology, and I do find that it does make me a little bit uncomfortable that people. I mean, it's not that they have any problem with me not having it. It's just that I find it frustrating that I cannot communicate with them because I don't have it, and I know that to have it, I need to get a smartphone. So I guess I resent the fact I can't download it online. And I am a little bit cynical. I think to some extent a lot of this is companies just trying to make money by basically, they know that you need to download certain things, which means paying their company to be able to download the service, rather than, as opposed to having a free service which is paid for by advertisements and so on. I find when it comes to computer technology, I'm probably of average ability. There's a lot of things I can do online. I can make attachments, I could do word processor, I can obviously upload videos. There's a lot I can do, so I don't think I'm a complete beginner in terms of computer technology. But there's also a lot of things that I can't do. Now, whether it's because my computer doesn't have the specific software that is needed for that, or whether it's because I haven't been able to grasp how to go about downloading that. But one thing I do find very frustrating is when people, maybe they've got good intentions, but they'll come out with things like, oh, it's easy, anyone can do that. Well, not if you. I think it's easy if you're computer savvy, but for people who don't know that much about computers, it can be overwhelming and very frustrating, because it puts, we have an expression in the UK, it puts years on you. What that means is trying to sort the problem out is very stressful, and it literally ages you. That's obviously just an expression, but it's a good expression. So I don't really know, I'm not really trying to make any point with this video, just that it's an observation. Now, I don't regard myself as a technophobe per se, because I don't hate technology, and it's not a case that I don't know how to use any technology, but I am a bit uncomfortable with this idea that you need to subscribe to these things in order to be, unless you want to be socially alienated. I think that's unfortunate. It's the same with a lot of job applications nowadays. They almost impose that you have to have Skype or you have to have some other medium in order to be accepted for their job, and okay, that's just the way it is, but it's an example of sort of forced conformity to technology. So I think technology has many positive points, and I have certainly made use of those things, so I wouldn't be sort of ungrateful and not recognise them. But at the same time, I don't like the fact we are relying on it so much, and I also think it takes away some human communication. There's nothing more antisocial than when you are in some sort of social activity and people are glued to their mobile phones and they're typing away and they're just glued to it. Now, I understand if they need to send a message or something, especially if it's to a relative in another country, that's different, but I have been with people who are literally glued to their phone, and it's like, hello, are you with me or are you with the person that you're speaking to on the phone? For one thing, it's very antisocial, very rude, but I don't think they even realise they're doing it, and this is where technology is partly responsible for actually killing social interaction. On one hand, it can increase social interaction because it allows people to be in communication with those they wouldn't otherwise find it difficult to see, i.e. friends or relatives in other countries. But on the other hand, it can kill social communication. So let me know your thoughts. Can too much technology be a barrier to social communication, or is technology purely a good thing? Personally, I see both sides. I think it could be good and bad. Definitely it can be progressive for human development, but I am concerned that we're relying too much on it, and that there's a sort of social stigma, or a social, maybe not stigma, but an alienation if you don't have all the latest technology, and I don't like that.